More help in the fight against the coronavirus as a second vaccine could be on the way later this week. We'll tell you why the vaccine from Moderna could be better suited to help rural communities.
Why don't you give us answers?
That's great.
It's a story known across the nation. Lori Vallow and her 2 dead children. This morning, KREM 2 digs into the entangled timeline with 1 foot in the grave.
Rain returns to the forecast. I'll let you know what that means for our snow on the ground and how much we're going to get in the next 7 days.
I've got a son failing 2 classes he's never failed in his life.
The state's top educator gets brutally honest about the struggles of remote learning, using language that could land him in detention.
Up with KREM starts right now with Jen York, Joshua Robinson, Jeremy Legoo, and Dana Marie McNichol.
Well, good morning and welcome to Up with KREM. Thanks so much for hanging out with us on your Wednesday morning. We'll take a look at this. Idaho police had an interesting call recently. They were on a call in the Nampa neighborhood in Idaho when this happened, and they say they do not suspect foul play. And they want residents to know that they're here around the clock. Coming up in the show a little bit later, we'll explain more about this impeccable story.
Round of applause, Dana Marie.
Hey, wow.
I really enjoyed that she was laughing as she was trying to read through it.
I could not get through that script straight face.
Well, we promise you, by the way, that's
forward to
not
that
the end of
story.
our chicken puns this morning. There are so many more to come.
If someone's writing in this morning, it's not a typo. We meant foul with a W.
Of course. Just buckle up, everybody. It's gonna be a. I was looking for a chicken pun there and I lost it. So I guess I'll just toss it to Jeremy.
We'll leave you with that little nugget. Off to weather. Temperatures stayed mild overnight, mid-30s here in town. Means a lot of the snow that we saw did melt. In fact, most locations are waking up to those temperatures above freezing this morning. Not until you head up and into some of those mountain passes are you finding some temps below freezing. So if you are heading into mountain passes, be ready for snow and ice and slow driving. Everywhere else, it's warm temperatures as we hang on to a little bit of cloud cover. And the cloud cover is going to take us through a good chunk of the day. And then just in time for the evening commute, a round of showers moves into the inland northwest. It's going to be rain with our temperatures closer to 40 degrees than not this afternoon. It is going to be just too warm for any sort of snow. And with some heavy rain continuing overnight and scattered showers tomorrow, it's likely we kiss all of our snow goodbye even by the end of this week. Unfortunately, that's just what it's looking like with temperatures staying well above freezing. We might see a little bit of patchy fog develop early on this morning, but no, temperatures climb quickly and we stay mild. So Tim, I just don't think we have snow in the forecast for the next week.
Well, there's 9 more sleeps until Christmas. That's something to look forward to.
I knew you'd know something like that.
Jeremy, thanks so much. Well, there's more good news on the vaccine front in the fight against the coronavirus. The FDA says Moderna's vaccine is highly effective. New data release confirms the vaccine is more than 94% effective in preventing COVID-19. It appears to be on track for the same emergency use authorization that Pfizer received last week. Unlike the Pfizer vaccine, Moderna's can be stored at normal refrigerator temperatures for 30 days. That should help get the vaccine to rural communities. Nearly 3 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine will roll out across the country this week. Company leaders say another 2.9 million doses will be shipped next week. U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary says he hopes to have 100 million vaccine doses completed by the end of January and enough supply to vaccinate everyone who wants one by July. Well, the first person to receive the Pfizer vaccine in Washington state was an ICU nurse at Harborview Medical Center.
We've seen a lot of terrible things there. If this can prevent you from ending up in that ICU or prevent you from losing a loved one, I think it's just super important.
500,000 frontline workers in Washington are in the first group eligible to get the vaccine. The next group to get the vaccine will be long-term care facilities. By the summer, the general public is expected to be vaccinated. For the latest information on the COVID-19 vaccine, you can text the word vaccine to 509-448-2000.
In the past week, 2 families have reported that their dogs were shocked while walking around in downtown Spokane. Our Nicole Hernandez is live this morning to tell us more about where it happened and what happened. Good morning, Nicole.
Yeah, good morning, Joshua. So it's this junction box here right along Spokane Falls Boulevard here in the plaza that a family from Spokane Valley says actually shocked their dog Teddy. He stepped right on top of this box. He lifted his leg and that's when he got shocked.
He just started moaning and barking, and Amy went to grab him and he bit her and he was just howling in pain.
Teddy's family said they came forward about their story after seeing a different KREM story about another dog who was shocked just down the street. They said as soon as it happened, they called Spokane's 311 hotline. The city said they came out with the Vista but didn't find any issues with power in the area. The city streets department said these incidents are very rare, saying the city does not know why these shocks are happening. The city does work on these boxes often, though, saying they are ready to respond if this happens again. You might remember something similar happening about a year ago now. That was related to heated sidewalks, and the city says that these boxes here are different than what happened in that situation last year. Live in Spokane, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
We'll continue to follow this story if there are any new updates. Time now for your morning rush. More news in less time.
Yeah, the Spokane Chiefs hockey season is delayed. Now, this, of course, is because of the public health restrictions and player health and safety. The Western Hockey League announced the 2020-2021 WHL regular season will no longer start on January 8th. The Board of Governors will meet in January to consider possible new start dates.
According to Bloomberg News, people are leaving big cities, and Seattle made it to their list. Their report suggests that even though the city is gaining population, it's also losing population at the same rate. Other cities losing population include Dallas, Texas, and Tampa, Florida. But the top city gaining population right now is Austin, Texas.
Well, Amazon is disputing a new report about the amount of plastic waste it produces every year. The nonprofit Oceana says last year Amazon produced enough plastic waste to circle the earth 500 times. It's estimated less than 1% of that waste makes it into oceans, rivers, and lakes. Even with that, the report says Amazon is responsible for dumping a delivery van worth of plastic into waterways every 70 minutes.
The state attorney general has announced over $100,000 in fines for companies accused of not doing enough to keep vaping products out of the hands of children. 5 companies will be fined and forced to change to comply with the state's age verification law.
President-elect Joe Biden has filled 2 more positions in his cabinet. He chose former campaign rival Pete Buttigieg as his transportation secretary. Biden will also nominate former Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm to be the Secretary of Energy.
And that's your morning rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media.
And still ahead on Up with KREM, remarks made by Washington Superintendent is gaining some attention this morning.
He's struggling like hell right now.
Coming up after the break, why these remarks would have sent him to detention.
Rain in the forecast, not just today, not just tomorrow, but as we head into the weekend, I'll let you know how many days of rain you can expect as temperatures rise.
And this morning, KREM is launching its first ever true crime podcast, and it's hosted by our very own Jen York and Taylor Vito. This morning, they're giving us a first look at the series. Jen?
Yeah, hi Joshua, and good morning everyone at home. One Foot in the Grave follows one of the most talked about stories this year from right here in the Inland Northwest. We're going to take a deep look into the lives of Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. Also, the disappearance of 2 of her children. Now, there is so much more to this story that you have not seen on TV. So this morning, we are here to give you the exclusive first listen.
Now, at the surface level, it centers around newlyweds appearing to enjoy their new life together. but it quickly falls apart with a mystery surrounding the disappearance of 2 children and a string of suspicious deaths and possible links to doomsday. Now, there was no sign of life from the kids, but also no sign of death. And the couple, well, they aren't talking. But as investigators would later learn, it's a case that speaks volumes without ever saying a word. This is One Foot in the Grave.
Well, my co-host Taylor Vito joins me after the break to talk about your next binge-worthy podcast. We're talking about what we learned while recording and, of course, where you can listen today.
Welcome to CBS This Morning. We have a lot of news today. Watch Gayle King, Anthony Mason, and Tony DeCopel on CBS This Morning. Weekday mornings only on CBS.